I just thought I'd talk about something I saw today. It's not it's not important. It's the German museums are returning African artifacts that were taken during the colonial period back to their homelands, and I think that is a step forward and a step back. Um, well, not really a step back, more like a quarter step back, because those statues, those Benin bronzes, as they were called, they were easier to access in Berlin than they will be in, say, Nigeria. And that's the quarter step back, is that these Benin bronzes, by being sent back to their home countries in Africa, uh, you see, it's easier to go to Germany. Well, not including the pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. It's easier to get to Germany and go to the museums there and see the bronzes there than it is to go to Nigeria, say. And while that may change in the future, it's just in the end, less people are going to get to see these things because less people will be willing to fly to Nigeria. Uh, it's as simple as that. I do believe that the step forward is greater than the step back. The Benin bronzes belong where they were created because that's their cultural history, and we can't deny that fact that these people, their ancestors made these things, and the Europeans. I don't think they stole them. Stole is not a very correct word for artifacts of that nature. Um, Maybe some of them were actually stolen, but I don't think it's possible for a entity, a non-individual entity, to steal things like this. Requisition, maybe? I don't know. But that's beside the point. I hope you are okay with my current camera setup. I'm going to get a new microphone soon, a binaural microphone, one with two inputs on left and a right. Hopefully. Maybe. I picked the cheapest one I could find, and I'm not entirely certain if it actually has two channels. But this one's getting old. It's getting old, and it's only one channel, so. The Benin Bronzes is what they're called. You can look it up. DW News. It's a German site. You know, that's a weird channel though. DW News. Look it up on YouTube. It's a German. It's a German web. It's a German channel that produces English language videos. It's like the German government's outreach program or something. Like DW News reports on German-centric things and publishes their products in English. I find it funny that that happens. So about the pandemic. Should I talk about the pandemic? About what happened? I think I already went over that. Someone in the other room. I live in an apartment, and someone across the is watching Star Wars. I think one of the original trilogies. That's what it sounds like. I guess I can just do some ASMR like stuff to fill up the rest of this video. Andy's mints. The good stuff. Although it's kind of hard to eat these more than a couple at a time. Yeah, I probably should do some role plays. Because just sitting here and talking to the camera in a calm and soothing manner. A little bit of Not anticlimactic, there was no climax. This is just relaxation, I suppose. Chocolate. I promised myself that if I got to 1,000 subscribers, I would buy a proper camera. I'm probably not going to get there anytime soon. Oh, you know Mr. Beast, right? I subscribed to Mr. Beast when he was at like 200K. And did you know that Mr. Beast used to do this thing called worst intros? I don't know if anyone remembers this, but he would scour the internet for bad intros. Mostly just younger people holding paper signs and dancing. But he would find these horrible intros and critique them, which is putting it lightly. He would roast them. He would roast these worst intros. They're all gone now. He deleted them all. He would also. I kind of miss that Mr. Beast. The new Mr. Beast is just, he's sensational. You know, it's like, oh my god, you did what? Every single time he posts something, it's like, oh my god, you did what? And he's gotten really good at that. Every time I see a new Mr. Beast video, I'm like, you did what? He keeps upping the ante, you know? Like, we expect him to do this, and he does this. And we expect him to do this, and he does this. And we expect him to do this. Oh, to the moon, man. Like, what is he going to come up with next? Crazy ass stuff he does. Oh my god. I haven't had Mr. Beast Burger. There's no Mr. Beast Burgers near where I live, so I can't buy any of them. I would like to. I would like to get a Mr. Beast Burger, but there's no places near me. And once I get my new microphone, I think I'm gonna have to start role playing. You're probably using role play. You need some props. By the way, this is a poll. Do you want me to do role plays, or do you want me to keep talking to the camera like this? Role plays, talking to the camera. I'll continue doing my metaphysical healing power. Although it doesn't work very well over the internet, I have to actually see someone in person before I can really get stuff, you know? Role plays. That sounds like something that I should do. Role plays. Or reading out loud. By the way, I have an audiobook that was produced professionally, and I have like 45 free codes. And so if you want a free audiobook code, comment below, and I'll hand one out to everyone who comments until there's none left. Although you have to redeem it within like 2 weeks, or I'll hand the same code to someone else. Because I can tell which ones have been redeemed, you know. So, you know, I find it kind of funny that I haven't actually talked about anime yet. Anime. There's not much to say that other people haven't already said, though. That's why I don't like talking about it, is because I'm really into it, but, you know, it's like, do you guys want anime reviews? Do you want me to do ASMR anime reviews? I could do that. I mean, maybe I'll make a pilot video, and see if anyone pays attention to it, not actual money. Also, I'm going to set up a Patreon. I think I do have a Patreon. I'm going to link the Patreon in the video's description. Patreon. Sorry, I'm gonna look up my Patreon account. Okay, log in. Minersapp@gmail.com. Oh, God. Yeah, I'll do that later. I'm sorry if my face got really close to the TV. I was looking some stuff up, Patreon specifically. I started a Patreon page, but I haven't plugged it anywhere. Now the computer is asking me to verify this computer because I just got a new computer like a month ago. It's a gaming computer, by the way, an Acer Nitro 5. Ugh, wonderful. This thing plays games awesomely compared to my old computer. It's a little bit more expensive than my old computer, but it's a great computer nonetheless. The screen is a bit smaller, but the resolution is a lot bigger. My other computer had a resolution of 720p. This one has a resolution of 1080p. Did you know that past 1080p, the human eye can't distinguish pixels past at a normal distance? So, like 4K, 8K, doesn't matter. I'm not a big fan of the whole 4K thing because it seems like a lot of work to add marginal value. But then again, I've never actually seen a 4K video on a 4K screen, so you know how they sell like specific specialty 4K monitors. Never had one of those, and I'm not a big, I don't know, 4K, 8K, 12K, 15K, 62K, 120K. I don't know, don't care. One of the things that I'm hoping will happen before I die is the ability to upload your mind into the cloud. Because I, personally, everyone wants to be immortal for one reason or another. The reason I want to be immortal is because I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens, like, I just think I want to see what happens, I don't want to lose out on the cool stuff that's going to happen in the future, like that's why I want to stay alive. How like some people freeze their heads or freeze their bodies for being awakened later. I don't think that'll work, actually. Mostly because the brain is just too complex to freeze it and unfreeze it while maintaining the personality and cognitive ability of the person who is frozen. That's my opinion on the matter. I'm not a scientist. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I'd rather be uploaded to a computer than frozen and unfrozen once people figure out how to revive me. And I don't have that kind of money either. Although, truth be told, $50,000 to live forever, quite the bargain. And then, of course, you can say, "Oh, but heaven and stuff." Like, oh my gosh, if you believe in God, you'll become immortal. But I don't. You see, the traditional view of heaven is of a bunch of people constantly singing and kissing the ass of this big guy in the sky. Like all that Christianity is just a bunch of ass kissing. We kiss his ass so that we can be immortal. It's like if I bow down to you and brown nose you, then you're gonna promote me to immortality. That's like the number one reason why people are Christian or Muslim or Jewish or whatever, is that they're nosing up to a deity in order to get stuff out of him. Some Christians try to say that's not how it works. Like, we love God and God loves us and it's all about love. And I'm like, come on, dude. The only reason why you're Christian is so you can get something out of it. Even if that something is just emotional satisfaction, Like death anxiety, Death anxiety is as bad as death itself. The anxiety surrounding death is as harmful to you as dying is. And that's why people believe in God, because they have death anxiety. They have life anxiety, you know? It makes you feel a lot less anxious about how things are going if you think there's a pie in the sky who's going to make things turn out well for you. Well, guess what? Things don't turn out well for the vast majority of people in history. You know, like you're a grunt in the trenches in the Battle of the Somme. Doesn't matter how much you pray to God or whoever, you're gonna die. You're gonna die a horrible death. You're gonna get a shell to the face or gassed or and millions of people died in the Somme. Millions of people died in World War II. You know, did God save the Jews? No. Although this may be weird, it may be controversial, but God has a past, a track record of slaughtering Jews. Look it up, dude. One time, God commanded the Levites to literally slaughter the rest of the tribes. Another time, God literally opened a crack in the earth that swallowed 100,000 Jews and snapped it shut. God's brutal to the Jews. I mean, if God thinks the Jews have turned away from him, he'll kill them. He'll massacre them. Like, look that up. I don't know exactly what I don't know exactly what verse, what book, what verse that those things happened in, but this I God has a track record of slaughtering Jews. In the biblical times, as well as um, and, and and governments have a track record of slaughtering Jews too. Do you know the story of Esther? The story of Esther is essentially a story of how one well placed concubine managed to prevent King Darius from genocide. Do you know that the foundation for the major tension in the story of Esther is the fact that King Darius was advised to kill all the Jews. And my point here is that you can't trust cosmic entities to have your best interests in mind. They have their best interests in mind. And sometimes your best interests align with their best interests. But at other times, you'll get horribly tortured to death because of what you believe. And God will do nothing to stop it. That's what happened in the Spanish Inquisition, you know? People were horribly tortured because they believed in God. And they believed in the same God as the people that were torturing them. They just had slightly different beliefs. And what did God do? He didn't pick sides. He stepped back and watched. And there's no rebuttal to that. God is uncaring. God is unkind. Sometimes he can be loving, sometimes he can be cruel. I am of the belief that God is eldritch, that the universe is a green dragon, that we don't understand God. We think we understand God, but we don't. We don't. God isn't just some pie in the sky normal Joe who wants to tinker with humanity. He's an eldritch abomination of physics and mathematics. Like the Higgs boson, the God particle, you know? And ostensibly I'm a Christian. So don't go repeating what I've said to anyone who knows me, because ostensibly I'm a Christian, and I stay that way because it smooths things out in today's society. A little bit of a Machiavellian reason too, specifically with a little bit of a Machiavellian reason actually, but I don't really feel God, you know. After seeing divine beings on my trip to the spectral realm, I just think, what are you doing, God? If you exist, why are you like this? You know? Why do you pit people against each other for worshiping slightly different copies of you? Why do you punish? Like Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, we all worship the same God. You know? Just through a different lens. through a different culture, through a different language. We all worship the same God. And C.S. Lewis, the guy who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia, he agrees with this. In the final book of the Chronicles of Narnia, the people who worshipped Tarzit, was it? The people who worshipped the bad god also got to go to heaven. And so even C.S. Lewis himself was aware of the fact that we all worship the same God. And the only reason why atheists exist is because this God just is a bit lazy, you know? Like, if an actual divine being were to make himself unambiguously known to humanity, not a single atheist would stay that way. You know? Like in Rick and Morty, like those big heads. They come down and go, "Show me what you got." And even the atheists are like, "Oh my god, we have to worship these guys because they're huge. They're cosmic." I'm sorry. I got into a rant. I hope you were relaxed by my rant about religion. Ostensibly, I'm a Christian. I like it that way. I can defend my position as a Christian too. I have just as many bullets in my ammunition belt that defend Christianity as fight against it. I can be as apologetic as I am. I can fight either one of the coins. Christianity real, Christianity not real. It's not a duality. It's just you gotta think about these things. You gotta think about these things. There we have it. That was my rant about religion. I hope you were relaxed by my rant. If you don't like me speaking rant-like, and you just prefer me to stay calm the whole time, and if you have any roleplay ideas that I can do with minimal setup and minimal preparation, that's great. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.